You may have clicked on this video because you realize you have a sales problem or you're already taking steps to solve it. If you think that sales is just about sleazy tactics to get some quick, cheap money in, then you're mistaken. In this video today, I'll show you who exactly can benefit from sales, why that is, and what benefits they can expect. And then I'll also show you like the core breakdown of what sales really is and how sales can help you achieve those benefits in your life and in your business. So, who is sales really for? I would say sales is really for anyone, whether it's in business or in life. But the person that can benefit the most from sales is probably the person who always has great ideas or something great within them. You just kind of sense that if you're this person, you probably kind of know that you have that, but at the same time, you struggle to convince other people of it. You might have a great service, but you're not getting clients in, or you might have like really intricate ideas that you really thought through, but somehow you're not able to convince other people of it. If that's you, then you're the person that can probably benefit the most from sales, even though you probably don't really like it. You probably have a lot of resistance to it. But that's probably the reason why you need to work on it. So I would say this person can benefit the most from sales. Now, let's expand a little bit on that because you might be a business owner and you're running on word of mouth right now, and that's getting you some clients in. But if you want more consistency and if you want to scale things up further as an entrepreneur, then look into sales and marketing. Or even if you're not a business owner, you might want to start your own marketing agency or start your own business. Sales will be very important. Or you might just want to become a sales rep working for some company because it's a great way to make an income for yourself. Or you just might be someone who is into personal development, communication, and you're looking for ways to improve your relationships with people or just the way you stand in the world. So let's look at why sales is important. And I would say there's really two core pillars here. The first is it's a great tool to make money and to grow your business. I think that's pretty obvious. Sales is a way to get clients in quickly to your business. And it's the first point of contact to your business. So if the customers don't like the people that represent your company, they're probably not going to do business with your company. So it doesn't apply to every business because some people don't need people to represent their company, but it does to a lot of businesses. So it's a great way to make money, whether you're a business owner or whether you're someone who wants to become a sales rep. Now, beyond that, I would say that there is a segment of people that understand the value of sales, but even those people, I think they often underrate the real power of sales because there is this idea out there that after a certain point in business, sales become less important and marketing becomes more important. That's because after a while, reaching out to clients one-on-one becomes less effective than reaching out to the entire world, which becomes marketing. And that's true to an extent. Marketing does become more powerful after a while to an extent. But what people forget is that the skill of sales is the skill of personal development and communication. And the science of influence remains the same, whether it's sales or whether it's marketing. Another point is that at some point, you're going to have to attract a team when you want to grow successfully with your business. Then you're going to need to learn to, first of all, attract those team members, which is what? That's sales. Then you're going to have to learn to manage that team, which is communication and leadership, which is sales. Once you have a good team, we can look at people like, let's say, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, for example. They need to manage relationships with investors, with other founders, and with their audience, with their stakeholders and shareholders. And what is that really? That's all communication. Now, you might look at someone like Elon Musk and say, that's not someone I consider who is good at communication. But the truth is, Elon Musk is quite good at communication in his own way. If he wasn't, he wouldn't be an entrepreneur. The thing is, tech founders, they need to be good at communicating a vision. Any entrepreneur needs to be good at that. If Elon Musk wasn't good at communicating his vision, then he wouldn't be an entrepreneur. He wouldn't be where he was. If he was just thinking on a technical level, then he would either be a programmer, an engineer, or a physicist. And I've got nothing against those people, but if you want to run a business and if you want to influence and change the world, then you need to be able to communicate a vision. And so even if you have a great vision, you're still going to need to communicate it to the world and to your stakeholders and your shareholders. So if you're not able to communicate that, then your business isn't going to do well, even if you have the best vision, because you need to convince and influence other people of your vision. The second core pillar of why sales is important is personal development. Now, this applies in business as well, because it permeates throughout your entire way of being. But I think there's also like a life that we have outside of business. And you might be someone who wants to improve their relationships with people. Maybe you're introverted and maybe you want to have a better connection with the world and with people close to you and people important to you. Then sales is going to lead you to that direction. Sales is going to teach you to become more empathic, understanding people better, be more patient with people. It will teach you to handle rejection, which is going to be necessary in life, because not everyone has the same opinions as you. You might be interested in someone, that doesn't mean someone is interested in you. And it's going to, like we said earlier, it's going to teach you how to communicate your vision to people, to influence people of your ideas and of the things that you feel like you have. And if you're not able to communicate that, then things are never going to happen. You might never meet a great wife. You might never meet a fun girlfriend. You might never have a great relationship with your family or your children. Or you might just feel like the world doesn't really understand you and doesn't really see the value in you. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have value, but a lot of times it means that you're not great at communicating it and not great at showing it to people in a way that they can understand. And a lot of salespeople, they are aware of this, but I think a lot of people that are not in sales don't really see it that way, because they think sales is just about sleazy tactics. And while sometimes salespeople resort to sleazy tactics, and while something some people do and sometimes used in the past, That's not the intention of sales. Like um, the tool, the tool is not to be blamed for the person that uses that tool, if you get what I mean. So sales, it's really just a way to understand people better, to influence people better, but for real effective influence, it needs to be genuine. And if you want to learn high level sales, if you want to learn good and ethical sales, then that's really the way to go. Now, let's take a look at what is sales exactly. Let's start with a concise description. Sales, it's selling a solution to some kind of problem or desire that people have, and you charge money for it. That's simply, briefly, what sales is. Now, that looks very simple, but in that, you're going to achieve all the benefits that we went over. You're going to learn to become a great communicator. You're going to learn to become a great business leader, entrepreneur. You can communicate your vision more clearly, more effectively. And those are also the skills that you need to have great relationships with people in the world, with your family, with your children, with your partner. These benefits can all be achieved if you just learn to sell a solution to some kind of problem or desire that people have. Now, practically, how are we going to achieve that? There are several core pillars or like most important skills that you need for that. The most important one, it's transfer of belief. Transfer of belief. So, in order to transfer your belief onto someone, first you're going to need to have the conviction and the belief yourself. If you don't have the belief yourself, you're not really going to be able to persuade anyone. So that's why it's really important to have confidence in yourself and in your service and your solution. Now, that's more than half of it, really. Having that belief in what you're selling. And the other half of it is learning how to transfer that onto people. And there's a lot of techniques for that. And it's communication a lot. We'll go into that later. The second core pillar is inner state. Because sales, in order to have that belief, you're also going to have to manage your inner state. If you let things affect you that happen in the world, or maybe you didn't get the best result for one client, or maybe something else happened and maybe you get down. If you let that affect you, then you're not going to be as confident and as persuasive if you could be. And you're also going to be more sensitive and more irritated. So that's why managing your inner states and being confident, strong, calm at all times is really, really important. The third one is leadership, because you're selling a solution to some kind of problem or desire that people have. You're the one that has a solution, they don't have the solution. Therefore, you need to be the one that leads them through that process. They can't because they don't know or they don't have faith. So it's a very, very important skill in sales. And it's communication, it's persuasion, and it's learning how to connect and be present with people and just guide them through the things that you know will be the best solution. That's why leadership is important. Now, the fourth and last core pillar of sales, it's what I call consultative selling. And it's not what I call consultative selling. Everyone knows this. It's consultative selling. It's basically discovering the problems that people or prospects have. They might be hidden, they might be obvious, but they might be surface layer. It's really important that we learn to dig deeper into those problems with the people we're selling to, we're consulting with, because if they don't understand their problems and if we don't get them to see that they have a problem, then we're not going to be able to sell them our solution. So it's really about asking questions that uncover the things that people are dealing with in their identity, in their business, with their clients, with their team. It's about uncovering those things. And you're going to need to ask both logical questions as well as psychological, personal, and identity questions. Because in a perfect world, if we were all machines, we could just ask each other logical questions and we would get to the root of it. But since people are human and since people have complex thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, there's also that human layer to it. So if we just ask a logical question, we're not always going to get to the root of it. That's why the psychological and human layer is also important. And that's why often these things are the most important and the most difficult, because often people know which problems they have, but it's really the psychological layer often that's holding them back. And that's what we really need to be really good at as salespeople and as closers. So that's really the 4 pillars of sales. Check out my next video on sales if you like this one. And if you learned something, please like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.